Hello, welcome to this spine rinse practice. This is a practice today about getting into our spine, moving it in lots of different ways that feels really nice and supportive for the rest of our body as well as our spine. This is really great if you have lower back pain or middle back pain or kind of a lot of tension in the shoulders and the upper back and the neck and the head, or if you feel like you've just been sitting in one position, you feel a little bit stiff and you want to kind of get that movement into your spine. When we move our spine, it actually allows us to kind of shift into our parasympathetic nervous system a little bit more, because the more range that the body has to move in, the less we feel like we're kind of closed off and in a panic state, like we can't move around us and see kind of what danger is around us. So join me for this. If you do have two blocks, we're going to use them just for the start. It's not necessary. If you have a big cushion or you want to grab some blankets and use this, that is very, very welcome. Otherwise, you can do this without blocks. So we're going to start in a child's pose. Let yourself get settled, a wide kneed child's pose. So taking your knees as wide as your mat or wider than your hips if you're not on a mat, big toes to touch, settling your bum to your heels, and then just letting yourself drape forward onto the ground. So belly is lengthening, chest is lengthening, and head is lengthening. And just let your forehead meet the earth, closing your eyes if that feels safe to do so, and just taking these few moments to arrive, to notice what you're meeting yourself with today, how the body feels, how the mind feels, and just allowing yourself to settle and decompress as we arrive into some movement here. Slow down the breath. And can you just let the breath feel like it's moving into your back body a little bit more? So as you inhale, imagine the breath is drawing in through the nose and traveling all the way down the back, all the way down into the pelvis. And as you exhale, it kind of washes all the way back up and out. Slowing the breath down, inhaling. Imagine the breath passing all the way down the spine, into the hips, into the bum. And as you exhale, it's passing back up. And as you imagine the breath moving in this way, you can stay in child's pose. I'm just coming up. Can you almost feel like as it moves, it's kind of clearing any stagnant sensations or stiff sensations, and it has this quality of like wind or an ocean kind of washing any stiffness away. Slow the breath down, let it really support you here. And then you can either stay here. So if you don't have props at hand today, then you can stay here. Or if you do have props, we're going to just bring them onto our mat. So again, this can be blocks, or it can be a layer of blankets, a layer of cushions, and you're going to let your elbows come onto that support. Now, if you don't have the support, if you don't have any other props, you're going to just bring your elbows onto the ground. Let your head hang heavy. Again, maybe your forehead is touching the earth, or maybe it's not. And can you bring your hands to meet into a prayer above your head? And maybe it just takes a few moments to kind of set up in this. You might walk your elbows a little bit further away from you. Notice if you're holding any tension in the face and the jaw here, could you soften that? And we start to open up a little bit more here into the top of the back, into the shoulders, under the armpits. And again, just let the breath feel like it's washing through. Every exhale, you might find that there's a little bit more space to move into. Slow and supportive breath. And maybe the palms are pressing together, or you might separate the palms and just let your fingertips touch one another. Keep breathing here. We'll take one more full breath in and a full breath out. Well done. And then release your hands from above your head. If you're on the props, gently just slide them away. Again, it was just for the start, the props. And then let yourself come back into that child's pose. Notice if you feel a difference here. So arms are extending long. And then can you keep your hands and your forearms on the ground? As you inhale, bring your gaze up towards your thumbs. So just lift your head a little bit, look to the top of your mat. And then we're going to start to snake our body forward. So we get into the movement a little bit more here. Can you stay as low as you can, bringing the weight onto your forearms and your hands, and then as far forward as your body can go. Then just let the elbows and forearms lift. As you inhale, press into the palms. Tuck your tailbone a little bit underneath you, lengthen through the chest, and then as you exhale, we're going to press down through the hands, dome in between the shoulder blades. So can you press up in between the shoulder blades, lift the belly, and press all the way back to your child's pose. So I'm going to take that twice more. A little bit more fluid this time. So as you inhale, press down into the hands and the forearms, snake your way forward. When you get as far forward as your body allows, then lift the elbows and the forearms, lengthen the belly, lengthen the chest. And as you exhale, press and rounding through one more time, maybe a little bit more fluid in this round. So it's one kind of fluid movement with breath. Inhale to rise. And as you exhale, draw it all the way back to child's pose. Beautiful. This time on your inhale, can we rise to all fours? So lift yourself up. Hands slide underneath the shoulders. Knees come underneath your hips. Hands are spread nice and wide. Fingers are spread nice and wide. And then just for a moment, kind of feel the ground underneath your hands. Feel the ground underneath the tops of your feet. So find that active connection and let the spine feel like it's lengthening here. So a slight tuck of your chin towards your chest. Feel the cervical spine, the top of your spine, elevate and lengthen. And then just land back in the presence of breath, that slow and connected inhale and exhale. And with this, we're going to start to move into cat-cow. But notice if you, especially if the practice is quite familiar to you, if you do practice quite a lot, it can be easy to just kind of move into cat-cow like this, move the body. But can you really focus on each vertebrae moving? So as you inhale now, start to lift your tailbone. Let your belly slightly drop, but can you really keep this attention on the spine as you lengthen one vertebrae at a time? Start to lengthen the chest forward, and then the last bit is lifting your chin a little bit without overdoing it, without throwing your head back, so that actually shortens the back of your neck. And then as you exhale, take it to the opposite direction. So press chin to chest, start to lift up in between your shoulder blades, working all the way down your spine now, down to the lower spine, tucking your tailbone underneath you. And we're finding this big rounding. Moving through like that again. Inhale, tilt the tailbone up towards the ceiling. Moving through the spine, one vertebrae at a time. We move into our cow pose here. Lengthening through the back of the neck. Again, it's tempting to kind of lift the chin here. And then as you exhale, rounding through. Can you feel that movement as you travel down? Let's do one more like that. Inhale to lengthen into cow pose. And the exhale takes us to cat pose. Rounding and breathing. Beautiful. Now come to a neutral spine here. Draw in through the belly. Press down through your left hand. We're going to start to reach up through the right arm all the way up towards the ceiling. Feel this expansion through the chest and in between the kind of collarbones here. And then notice if you're dumping your weight into one leg or one hip more than the other. Can you find this even grounding through both knees and through both feet? And then really find this lengthening up through the right fingertips. Breathe in here. As you exhale, bend your right elbow. Let your hand come behind your head. I'm going to swivel myself around. Inhale to find a lengthening up through the elbow. And as you exhale, soften the left elbow. We're going to tap right elbow to your left wrist, or left elbow if the wrist doesn't feel accessible. So bringing it down all the way, either to left elbow or left wrist. And then inhale, press into the left hand. We rise back up through the right elbow. Again, notice if you're dumping into one hip or one leg. Can you keep that even grounding? Breathe in. Exhale, we take it again. We're going to take 3 of these. To the left elbow or left wrist. And then inhale to rise up. Feel the rotation through the middle part of your back. Exhale, draw it down. Soften the left elbow to let it get there. And then one more time to inhale, rise up. This time, re-lengthen the right arm. Right hand, breathe in. And as you exhale, thread your right arm now underneath your left arm. Reach as far as you can and then bring the right shoulder down to the ground and the right side of your face. Press your left hand into the earth to lengthen your left elbow up towards the ceiling. And with that, you might find that there's a little bit more rotation that can happen in the upper part of the spine. Soften the face, soften the jaw. And just stay here for a few long, slow breaths. Again, noticing if your hips are kind of moving to one side. Can you let this just be a spine job? Well done. And then we start to bring our face down towards the ground. Our forehead comes down and our left arm is going to sweep forward. So maybe do the left arm first. That might feel a little bit more accessible. Left arm comes forward first, like in a child's pose. And then our forehead is coming down to the ground. And we're kind of getting into a different part of the right shoulder here. Can you let everything soften on the exhale? One more breath in. And one more breath out. Well done. And then slide the left hand back in towards you. Bring both hands down to tabletop. Take a little movement maybe around through the wrists here, if the wrists feel like they need a little bit of love or they feel a little bit delicate. Or you can take that very conscious cat-cow again. Inhaling to lengthen and lengthen the heart forward. Exhale to round through the spine. And then coming back to neutral spine, we'll take that to the other side. So right hand stays planted, left arm starts to lengthen up and almost feel like you're kind of stringing a bow and arrow here. You find this connected drawing all the way up, lengthening left hand up towards the ceiling. Keep pressing down through right hand. Notice if you've collapsed into one hip, one leg. Breathe in, and as you exhale, bend the left elbow, hand behind your head. Inhale here. Exhale, left elbow to your right wrist or right elbow. Inhale to lengthen all the way back up. Twice more like this. Exhale, left elbow to right wrist or right elbow, softening the right arm so it doesn't have to remain straight. One more time. Inhale, lengthen up. Keep pressing equally through the legs, through the knees. Exhale, soften down. And then inhale, you find that reach up. This time, lengthen the left arm again. And as you exhale, thread the left arm underneath your right arm. Reach as far as you can. Land the left shoulder and the left side of your face. Right hand plants down into the ground. So really feel that active press down to then lengthen the right elbow up towards the ceiling. It's just an active press to find that length. And with that, you might notice that the upper back can find a little bit more space here. Keep softening the jaw, let the head be heavy. Breathe in. Breathe out. And then start to lift your head, reach your right arm towards the top of your mat and bring your forehead down to the ground. So chest and head are now facing the earth. And just settling in the breath here. One more inhale. One more exhale. Beautiful. And then walk your hands back underneath your chest. We're going to take a little puppy pose now. So tuck your toes and then start to walk your hands all the way to the top of the mat. Lengthen your belly and your chest down to the earth. Now either forearms can stay off the ground here. You might find a little bit more of a stretch and a space creating underneath your armpits. Or you can bring the forearms down. So entirely up to you. What feels better in your body today? Breathing in. And then breathing out. Walking your hands back underneath the shoulders. We're going to start to tuck our toes and come to a downward facing dog. But can we be there, or can we arrive there in a really kind of mindful, connected way? So hands are spreading wide, toes are tucking. Can you bring your bum towards your heels and then press down through the hands? Start to lift your knees off the earth and the weight pours back in towards the heels as the hips rise. Take a really slow pedal through the feet here. So bend through your right knee, lift your right heel off the ground and let your left leg lengthen, left heel pours down to the ground. And then switch that. Inhale, lift the left heel off the ground, and as you exhale, right heel comes down. One more each side, slow pedal. Inhale to lift the right heel, exhale, left heel down. Keep pressing down through the hands. Inhale to lift the left heel, exhale, right heel comes down. And then inhale. Come back through center, or like just through a kind of neutral downward facing dog, but walk your feet about a foot's length distance, a little bit closer towards your hands, and take them a little bit wider than your hips. The knees can be really generously bent here. Your heels can also be lifted. Keep your left hand planted down to the ground, fingertips spread wide. Right hand starts to reach towards maybe your left calf, maybe your left ankle, or maybe kind of the left heel, whatever feels accessible for your body. The right knee is bending a lot, and then we're using the hand to twist underneath the left armpit. Left hand is grounding so much here, and then steady the breath. One more inhale, and the exhale, release the right hand back to the earth. Switch that to the other side. So this time the left heel comes a little bit higher, left knee bends, right heel plants down, left hand either comes to right calf, right ankle, right heel. If you've got that space, maybe it's a really long arm naturally in your body. And then using the hand to twist underneath the right armpit, keep pressing down firmly, firmly, firmly through the right hand. Let the head be heavy. Breathe in. Breathe out. One more time, inhale here. And then exhale, release the left hand. Walk your feet towards the top of your mat to meet your hands. We come into a forward fold, Uttanasana. Feet hip width distance apart, head heavy, spine heavy, hands catching hold of opposite elbows, knees as softly bent as you need, and then just taking a really slow sway side to side from the hips. It's tempting to let the arms move, but actually doesn't do much for us at all. So can this come from the hips, feeling this decompression of the spine, chin to chest, head so heavy. And then slowly let your hands release back down. Keep this pressing into the feet, soften the knees, and we start to roll up the spine, bone by bone. Feel this in a slow, connected way. So resist the urge to rush this. And eventually, when your head and shoulders rise, take a few rolls of the shoulders here. Feet to hip width distance apart. Well done. And then pressing into the feet, can you start to inhale, reach your arms all the way up and overhead. Let your thumbs hook and let your palms spread wide. And then just reach your hands all the way up and overhead. Maybe they move a little bit towards the back of your mat as you press down firmly through the feet and lift up through your pelvic floor, lift up through your belly and rise up through the chest. Keep the head just neutrally wherever the spine is going. So rather than tilting the chin up, keep it where it is, breathe in. And then breathe out softly, just let that release, let your arms come down by the sides of your body. And then inhale, we're going to take the arms back up overhead. This time we take a mudra of the hands called Pali Mudra, interlacing the fingers and bringing your index fingers to touch. So inhale, reach that all the way up and overhead. Now from here, press down through the feet, find this extension through the index fingers, and we start to draw a little circle above our head with our index fingers. So imagine you're drawing yourself a little halo. And that circle kind of gets into the shoulders here. You can feel the movement from the shoulders rather than it just being from the fingers. That circle is being drawn by the movement of the upper back and the shoulders. And then let that start to trickle down as you get the middle back involved. And as the middle back starts to get involved, you might already notice that your lower back and your hips kind of want to get involved. So allow them to, let them join the party. And the knees can bend. Maybe you close your eyes. As you just feel this kind of rinsing and washing round of the spine, using your breath to help this just clear out. And then take your circles in the opposite direction if you haven't already. Beautiful, beautiful. And let this coil back through center to stillness eventually. Maybe you kind of do that one body part at a time. So maybe the hips stop moving and you're keeping this in the middle back. And then the middle back stops moving and you just keep it in the shoulders. And then eventually find stillness. Press into the feet, reach up through the fingertips, breathe in. As you exhale, separate the hands, take your elbows wide. And then draw your shoulder blades in towards one another, squeeze the back of the body, and then interlace your hands behind your back. Inhale, press into the feet, lengthen up through the front line of the body. So feel like the thighs are starting to draw up towards your belly as you lift up through pelvic floor, lift up through belly, lift up through chest. And as you exhale, we fold over here again. Uttanasana with this arm variation. Knees can again be as bent as you need them to be. Head is heavy. And then can you bend into your right knee as you drop your right shoulder towards the right thigh? And your gaze turns towards the left, your head turns towards the left. And then switch that. So bending to the left knee, left shoulder to your left thigh, belly, chest, and head turn towards the right. Breathe in. And exhale, let it release. Release the hands. Let them drape back down to the earth. You can spend a few moments here just rocking the weight into the toes and then the feet. Is your mouth relaxed? Is your tongue relaxed? And then on the inhale, slide your hands to your shins or your thighs. We're just going to lengthen the spine halfway. So feel this flat back positioning, drawing in through the belly, lengthening the crown of the head towards the top of the mat. And as you exhale, just feel this draping over again. Hands come to the earth. We're going to step back into a plank. And just pause here for a moment. Take a breath in, spread wide through the fingertips. And then on your exhale, lower your knees to the ground. Untuck your toes. We'll lower all the way down. Thighs, belly, and chest. So feel the spine moving to the earth as you lower here. And then take your hands out wider than your mat. Come onto your fingertips. Let your elbows face up towards the ceiling. Press into the tops of the feet so the knees and kneecaps lift off the mat and the thighs, and then roll your shoulders as you inhale, lengthen up through the belly or forward through the belly rather than trying to lift up. Let's lengthen forward. And then as you exhale, drop your right shoulder towards the earth. Gaze comes over your left shoulder. As you inhale, rise up. And as you exhale, left shoulder towards the center of your mat, towards the ground, gaze over your right shoulder. Inhale to rise up, and as you exhale, pull the chest all the way back down. Bring your forearms to the ground. We're going to come into a little Sphinx pose. So elbows come underneath the shoulders, forearms to the earth, palms are down on the ground. Pressing into the tops of the feet again. We're just going to find this little nourishment in the back here. So we're kind of a cat-cow with this. As you inhale, squeeze your glutes, press your pubic bone into the earth, and then lift up through the belly. Lift up through the ribs, so feel like the floating ribs are kind of drawing in towards the back body, and then lengthen up through the sternum, up through the chest. Feel this expansion of the chest kind of moving forward but out towards the sides. And then as you exhale, drop your chin towards your chest, release the belly, and just let the head hang heavy. We're going to take that one more time. So squeezing the glutes as you tuck your tailbone. And it's not kind of an over-the-top squeeze, just a little squeeze. Tuck the tailbone, press your pubic bone into the ground. Lift up through the belly. Feel the floating ribs, so the lower ribs, drawing in towards one another and then towards the back body. Press down through elbows and forearms as you lengthen your heart forward and out. Breathing in. And as you exhale, letting that all release. Letting your head hang heavy. Maybe taking a little sway side to side with the head. And then let the chest come all the way down. We're going to reach our right arm out towards the side. If you're limited by space like me and you haven't got the big reach, you can bend your right arm and place your right forearm to the ground. This is actually a little bit more intense, so just be wary. If you do want to kind of wriggle around in your space and come to the left a little bit more, to reach the right arm out wide, it's coming all the way down on the floor in a kind of half T. And then press the left hand into the ground. We're going to roll onto the right side of the body. Right side of the face or head comes to the earth, and we might just be here. This might feel like a really nice place to be. Perhaps you're feeling it in the right shoulder. Again, if you want to feel a little bit more here, you can bend the right elbow. If this feels like enough, stay. Left hand is pressing into the earth. Maybe you bend your left leg, your left knee, and the left foot lands behind you, and you can just let the weight drop you back into the right shoulder a little bit more with conscious, slow breaths. Maybe a little bit more is needed. Left arm can reach up and then behind you. Remember, more is not always better. So really choose what your body needs today rather than thinking, I want to just go all the way into this deep, deep place. It might not feel quite right. Wherever you go, take a breath in. And then as you exhale, we'll just gently release this onto the front body again. Both hands come underneath the shoulders. Take a little pause there. Maybe a little wiggle of the hips. And then we take that to the other side. Left arm either out nice and long if you've got the space, if it felt right in your body, or bending through the left elbow. So the left elbow is in line with the shoulder or a little bit higher. And then right hand pressing underneath the right shoulder, and we roll ourselves onto the left side body. And you can kind of feel, if this feels right in your left shoulder, you might reach your left hand a little bit further away, your left hand a little bit higher. And then either staying here, or again, you have the option bending the right knee, letting the right foot plant behind you, or doing any variation with the arms. It might feel like a different experience on this side. So perhaps you're not doing exactly what you did on the other side. For me, this side is a lot tighter. Be really generous with your breath. Take one more inhale here. And then on the exhale, we'll release onto the front body. Well done. We're just going to take a little baby cobra. So hands underneath the shoulders, and then inhale, lengthen the chest forward. Exhale, find a release. This time, we're going to draw our left knee out towards the side and come to like a little tree pose onto the earth. So left knee is bending out towards the side, or it's kind of like a half frog, but the foot is coming in towards the right thigh. And then we're going to slide our right arm underneath our left arm, and the left hand can stay on the ground. Slide yourself onto the right side of your face, right side of your head, and then the right side of your body. And then can you reach your right arm as far away from you so your right shoulder feels like it's lengthening a little bit more. And then from here, left hand is going to come onto your right forearm. So you're on the right side of your body. Left hand starts to draw across the body, so up the arm and then across the chest. If you're limited by space like me, you can shimmy yourself over to the right. Reach your left arm as far away from you as you can, and let the left shoulder come to the earth. So as you can see here, I'm limited by my space. If that's the same for you, you might bend the left elbow. And then reach your left hand up towards the ceiling. We're going to reach it slowly back through the air towards the right hand, and take that all again. So head is heavy, drawing the left hand up the right arm and then across your chest and out wide, letting the left shoulder blade meet the earth. When you get there, breathe in, breathe out. Well done. And then release the left arm all the way back up towards the ceiling and round towards the right hand. Left hand to the earth, sliding yourself back onto your front body. We'll take that to the other side. So this time, right knee bends into a little tree. Left arm is going to slide underneath your right arm and roll yourself onto the left side of your body. Right hand comes to your left hand, and then slide up your left arm all the way across your chest. And then reach it out wide, or bending through the elbow so your right shoulder can come to the ground. And then right hand reaches up and back towards the left hand. And find that sliding again all the way up the arm, across the front of the chest, and out towards the right. Stay here for a few more breaths this time. Notice if the legs are kind of holding on for dear life here. Could you soften them? If you need a little bend in the left knee, you can. Maybe the left hand comes onto right thigh. Breathing in. And then breathing out. Well done. This time from here, we're going to bring ourselves onto our back. So just allow the right foot to come down to earth. Shimmy yourself onto the back body. Plant the feet on the ground. And we take a few little moving bridges here. So hands are going to reach all the way up towards the ceiling. Press down through the feet. Feet are hip width distance apart. Start to tuck your tailbone underneath you, and then bone by bone, we're lifting up and rolling up the spine. So the hips are lifting and the weight climbs up into the shoulders. From here, let the arms reach all the way up and overhead. And then as you exhale, release bone by bone back down to the ground. Middle back and lower back, and then feeling that imprint of the pelvis into the ground. We're going to keep the arms up and overhead for another one. Inhale, press into the feet, start to roll up through the spine, bone by bone. And then exhale, release all the way back down. This time when you get to the bottom, draw your knees in towards your chest, wrap your arms around your shins and take a little sway from side to side. Settling the breath. And then slide your hands onto your knees, and we're just going to roll the knees out in opposite directions like they're mirroring one another. Using the hands, the feet can stay together or they can come apart. Using the hands to guide them round in circles, nourishing into the lower back here. And then draw the circles in opposite directions. Beautiful. Plant the feet back on the ground, knees bent. Hands come to the back of the head, interlace behind your head, and then lift your chin up towards your chest. Let the head hang really heavy in the hands. Feel like you've got all the weight of it in your hands. And then just take a little sway, kind of little movement of the head side to side. Feel this stretching at the back of the neck. Breathe in. And then as you exhale, feel like you could lengthen your neck as you place your head back down. Arms release down to the ground. Legs come long. And we take a few moments here to just let everything decompress. To feel full length through the body. Closing the eyes if you feel safe to do so. Any blankets are welcome. Any other layers are welcome. Nothing to do but be as you are. Feeling the support of the earth rising up to meet you. Holding your body so that you can completely relax into this. Keep softening the face and the jaw, the shoulders, belly, the glutes, the thighs, the legs, the feet. If you've got time to stay here, please do. It is a great place to be. If you're coming up with me, just very, very softly invite a wiggle through the fingertips and toes. Maybe that stirs into your ankles and your wrists. You might wish to reach your arms up and overhead and find a full body stretch here. And then drawing your knees into your chest, rolling yourself around to one side. And slowly peeling the body up. We meet in a seat. Can you keep your eyes closed for just a few more moments? Let your hands meet in front of the heart in prayer. Feel the palms, the warmth of your touch. And taking this moment to feel gratitude for the body. And how we have so much more power than we realize to kind of take care of ourselves. To put ourselves first so we can show up for everyone else in our lives that needs us. Take a full breath in. Sigh it through the mouth. Bow your head to your hands. Thank yourself for showing up. And I thank you for joining me. I hope that feels nourishing in your spine, your back, and the rest of your body. Notice how you feel after this practice. Let that echo into the rest of your day. Have a lovely day. I'll see you soon.